Hi guys, this is Erica Weston with Fox Sports Midwest, and you're listening to my favorite St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio.
Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by Manscaped, the very best in men's below-the-waist grooming.
Oh my God.
Get 20% off and free shipping with promo code LGB at manscaped.com. Look good, smell good, feel good with Manscaped.
As the world's only personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment and your DNA, ID Life provides its members with high-quality ingredients backed by pure science.
It's science.
Check out rockinthatidlife.com and speak with Dustin about how you can reach your goals today. That's rockinthatidlife.com.
Welcome to Season 9, Episode 17 of Let's Go Blues Radio. We're the often imitated but never duplicated, the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast. Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with promo code LGB. Look good, smell good, feel good with Manscaped. And by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment of your DNA. Talk to Dustin at rockinthatidlife.com. That's rockinthatidlife.com and tell them Let's Go Blues sent you. We're broadcasting live on Wednesday, January 13th, 2021. This is franchise episode number 284 all the time. Your hosts tonight are yours truly, Curt Price, Bill Day, and Jeff Ponder. And for your listening pleasure, for the next little while, we'll be talking St. Louis Blues hockey and previewing the 2020-21 Blues season, leading up to the season opener versus the Colorado Avalanche at 9:30 p.m. Central tonight. To interact with the show on social media, you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All of our social media info is posted at letsgoblues.com, where you can also find the past episodes of the show, browse the fan discussion forum, and visit our shop, where you can get some awesome Blues-themed t-shirts and stickers that help support the show. We're dual live streaming right now on YouTube and Facebook, so thank you for joining us. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the show. Appreciate it. And if you're listening on the podcast, we do live stream video of the show on YouTube and Facebook, each live show during the season, so feel free to check that out in the future. Oh, it's finally here, guys. But before we get into some Blues hockey talk, a couple of announcements. We do have a new sponsor for the show. If you've probably heard, ID Life has joined Manscaped as a proud sponsor of the show. So welcome aboard and thank you for your support. We appreciate it. And Jeff and Bill, I think we're covering all the bases now when it comes to sponsors. Manscaped grooms the body, and ID Life helps keep the body healthy. So we're all about the body on this show.
Yep. And remember, folks, don't go to just idlife.com. Go to rockinthatidlife.com. Rockin' with no G. Yes, rockinthatidlife.com. But yes, it's exciting. Hey, you know what? They're just as excited for the NHL season as us. They contacted us a while ago, and we said, you know what? Why don't we wait until the NHL season starts to start this? And they were all for it. So welcome aboard. And yes, guys, it is finally here. We survived 2 off seasons in 2020. How about that?
And it's weird. I was on St. Louis Public Radio.
It's painful to say.
I was on St. Louis Public Radio for an interview that was there today, and we talked about. He asked about, does it feel, how does it feel to have hockey back right now? I said, it's been so weird. It's been so weird, messed up for the past year almost. So 10 months. So it doesn't even feel like winter here in St. Louis. It hasn't been crazy cold. We haven't had a ton of snow, hardly any snow, and it's like. Yeah, it's almost like it's. I mean, I'm ready for it. I love hockey. I want it, but it doesn't seem like winter here. Everything's so messed up. I've been inside all the time. I'm just give me a distraction. Let's get some hockey going.
I'm very excited. Hockey has already started for us. We've been. I know Bill and I are watching the Maple Leafs and Canadiens game. I think Curt, you said you got the Blackhawks and Lightning on, and I watched the Penguins and Flyers earlier. Hockey's in full swing. It's a real good feeling to be back.
The official beers.
Absolutely. Go Habs, go.
I think Bill's on a bit of a delay.
A little bit.
Yeah, my My internet's all kinds of screwed up.
Oh, that's I see your message. Your internet is messed up. So okay, maybe it'll correct itself.
Let's hope.
Maybe it's recording yourself locally. Maybe that's throwing a wrench in the works. Hope not.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. The official beer, we'll see how this goes. The official beers of episode number 284. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. My account is at cprice12. Jeff's is at jponder94. Bill's is Billy Blue Note 33. So Jeff, what is your beer this evening?
Well, tonight, folks, I'm going with, I believe it was the same beer I had last week when we had a show, the Old Arena Lager from our friends at Center Ice Brewery. I thought, again, just a good local hockey beer is good for opening night. I got a good backup here as well, but we're not going to talk about that one because that's not local, so screw them. Old Arena Lager, the best lager you can find in our hometown of St. Louis, I think. Well, okay, I don't want to say the best. One of the best.
I was at Center Ice the other day. Amy and I were there, and I had their cooler was down, and I think it still is, unfortunately. Yeah, and it still is but they were serving cans and bottles and stuff. They just didn't have the draft beer going, and I had the lager. In their new bottles, or fairly new bottles, with the new awesome labels, the Old Arena drawing on the labels. It's a badass label.
I love it. Good stuff.
How you doing, Bill?
Bill, are you you with us?
Can you hear me? Can you?
I can hear you.
We can hear you. Yes.
All right.
So what are you drinking as far as beer goes?
Finish off the costumes and karaoke by your favorite Dogfish Head Brewery. I picked up some Surly multi-pack that it's got to chill a little bit. So that'll be for while I watch the Blues game later.
You're breaking up a little bit, but we'll see if that gets better. And it's a good thing you're recording locally because that should be fine for the podcast later.
Let's hope.
Sometimes this stuff goes in and out, so we'll see. It can only get better, right? Mine this evening is the Four Hands Chocolate Milk Stout, so a St. Louis beer for a St. Louis win tonight. How's that?
There you go.
Chocolate Milk Stout, Four Hands, one of my favorites. Seasonal beer, very popular beer here in St. Louis as far as craft beers go. So Four Hands, one of my favorite breweries, which I haven't been there in a while. I haven't been there since early on in the pandemic when I stopped by to pick up some beer to take home. So I
haven't even done that with them. That's kind of surprising because I love that place too.
They have some great seasonal things, and they have some great varieties of the milk stouts and stuff. Different flavors and stuff. It's good. Today in Blues history, courtesy of the @STL Blues History Twitter account, January 13th is today's date, 2020. So 1993, not on January 13th, but the Blues have had one hat trick on opening night in franchise history, and that was 1993. Brendan Shanahan versus the Florida Panthers. Of course, it's Brendan Shanahan, right?
Always is.
Yeah, always is. Yeah, he's a good trivia answer for hockey trivia answer for Blues questions. He's been he wasn't here for a long time, but he did a lot of stuff when he was here. January 13th, 1994, Brendan Shanahan's, again, in Today in Blues history, scores his 200th career NHL goal. Brett Hull scored the first empty net goal of his career. I remember that game. In his 500th game in the St. Louis Blues 6-4 win versus the Edmonton Oilers. The story behind this is, if you didn't know, he didn't shoot on empty nets. He didn't like it. Didn't like it. And the year he scored 86 goals in one season, he had 0 empty net goals. Do you know how many goals?
Which is very impressive.
Do you know? Yeah, it is very impressive, because do you know how many empty net goals Wayne Gretzky had when he had his 92 goal season?
8, I want to say.
I think it's 11.
11?
I think it was double digits. Something like that. And so, honestly, if you want to, who has the most goals scored on an actual goalie in an NHL season? That is Brett Hull.
Reminds me of the great quote from Ally Afraidy. I can't really say that. I'm not going to say it on the air, but let's just say Ally Afraidy used a very bad slur that was probably a little more accepted. Have you guys heard that story?
I don't think so.
Back in, I think, the 80s, Afraidy had a chance at an empty net goal to be a hat trick goal, and he chose to pass, like literally wide open net, nobody around, and he passed it across. Somebody else scored. Reporter asked him after the game, Al, why didn't you shoot on that empty net? It would have been a hat trick. And he said, empty net goals are for, let's say, bundles of sticks. Let's just say that. And
Nice.
it was a very bad slur at the time. It still is. But yeah, very funny that Ally Afraidy had no problem. Mr. Scullett had no problem saying that phrase to a media member.
He had missing link hair.
Yeah, he did.
If you're a wrestling fan from back in the 80s, the missing link.
Mm-hmm.
January 13th, 2019, Jordan Binnington was named the NHL's second star of the week. Binnington went 3-0 with a shutout, a .67 GAA, and a .974 save percentage. In his first 3 NHL starts, Binnington was the first Blues rookie goalie to win NHL Player of the Week award since Curtis Sanford, November 20th, 2005. Man, I remember early on with Binnington's numbers, unworldly. You'll see goalies post, those kinds of numbers over 3 or 4 starts, whatever, and have him named Player of the Week. But man, as your first 3 starts in the NHL, oh God.
He was picked up by every fantasy league across the world.
Yeah,
when that happened,
and they benefited from that too, because he was fantastic that second half of that season.
Yep,
as we all know. Before we get into the Blues discussion, which will be rather lengthy, let's run through a few NHL items in our rapid fire hockey tidbits. The San Jose Sharks forward Evander Kane files for bankruptcy. So I wonder if this is going to be more fuel for the Evander Kane and Ryan Reeves feud that they got going back and forth. Or do you think this is something that's off limits for Reeves on the ice?
Oh, no, nothing's off limits. You kidding me?
Okay. This is a very personal issue. Okay. I'm just saying. I don't know. There are limits to what you can say to a player on the ice. What's cool. You can trash talk a guy, but if you go to a certain distance, if you go so far, then you're the douchebag, right?
Right.
So you don't want to take it too far.
Yeah. I saw a really funny meme going around, and you might have seen it, Curt. It had like the list of injuries for the San Jose Sharks. And the first one said, I don't remember who the players were, but player A, broken tibia, player B, broken finger. And then it had Evander Kane, broke as fuck.
Okay. So he filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy in California after amassing his $27 million in debt, which is nuts. Considering according to Cap Friendly, he's 29 years old and has earned $53 million in team pay through his 11-year career. So you take his total earnings, and what he's in debt. So I guess he's spent around $80 million, if my math is right, in 11 years. And he's scheduled to make $35 million more over the length of his contract. So if he doesn't spend too much more, he can pay off his debts over the last little while. But man, how do you? Bill's a money guy, right? A financial guy. He makes so much money that if he took half of his salary each year, you tell me if this is something that is logistical, Bill. If you take half of his salary each year and add it to an IRA, okay, he'd have earned an absurd amount of money over the last 5 years, just in letting it sit there, right? Because you've got millions in an IRA. You're going to make millions over 10 years or whatever. What's the return on that? Like 10% or so per year, something like that. So you got to be wildly reckless and irresponsible with your money, right?
You do have to be wildly reckless and irresponsible. You couldn't put half of it in an IRA. And with his income, he actually wouldn't be eligible for getting any kind of deduction in an IRA. So you just want to put it into the market, let alone whether it's tax protected or what. You want to get it invested. But I think he may have just gotten swept up into the lifestyle. What the most infamous picture of him is the money phone shot from the rooftop of the hotel in Vegas.
Yes.
I think it's just a matter, that he may have just made some really, really poor choices.
Apparently, he had like $1.5 million. He has $1.5 million. $1.5 million of his debt is gambling. Apparently, so there's that.
That's all.
That's what I heard.
I don't know.
So no wonder he wants to do that boxing match, make a little extra money on the side.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Commissioner Gary Bettman says the league losses will eclipse $1 billion this season. So, with few, if any, fans in attendance in most buildings, and with fans accounting for about half of the league's revenue, losses will be in excess of $1 billion. So, I guess, for whatever reason, Bettman is giving publicly for the NHL playing games, fans should be very happy that the league is returning, with them standing to lose $1 billion, because they could easily say, no, we don't want to play at all. But they'd lose far less this season by not playing at all. But they're playing because they stand to lose less in the long run, because if they don't play the season, that hurts the future seasons more. So I think that they're wagering that they'll make more money down the road and make this up 2 or 3 years from now. So that's my thinking of what this makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way that they could try to take the season off. I think that he's talking about an option that never really was on the table. And if it was, it was probably just Jeremy Jacobs pushing the idea that he didn't want to lose any money. I honestly think that no professional sports league could afford to sit a season off, just because their fans aren't in the building. I mean, the NHL is doing some innovative things to get fans or to get revenue, like with, the ads on the helmets, the stickers on the helmets, and, the divisions we talked about last week. I think it's a little bit, Bettman saying, don't say I never did nothing nice for you. So
as many negatives in a sentence as you can, but don't say I never did nothing. That's 3 negatives.
Yeah. So it must be a positive.
Yeah, I guess. Is that how that works out? Yeah, I actually did well in math in school, so I should know that. It's funny how math and English kind of overlap there. Doesn't make sense, but it does.
Where were you at when I needed help in math?
Where was I at?
I was not a math kid. Oh yeah. You were probably already buying a house and graduating college.
I had kids already. Yeah. So yeah, you're a youngin.
Starting a blues podcast.
Right. You're a youngin. Well, you were about 12 years old when we started the show. So
exactly. Yeah. And I'm 19 now. So yep.
Right. That doesn't make sense either.
Oh, it does.
We're in our 9th season. Okay. Anyway,
again, bad math. Good. Could still grow that same facial hair.
Right.
Hey, I was the Beast in Beauty and the Beast in I guess that was junior year, because I was the only one that could grow facial hair.
Oh, is that right?
That and my amazing singing voice.
Mike Milbury will not return to NBCSN. After making disparaging remarks towards women during the bubble playoffs last season. If you remember, they were talking about bubble life for the players, and Milbury said something along the lines of, and there's no women there to distract the men. So, which we talked about this for a while when it happened, and I think I'm still of the same opinion that, and you guys were all over him, and I know that many people can't stand him. But I was of the opinion that it was just a very tasteless joke. I don't think he actually. Well, maybe he did. Maybe he's just a dick, and he actually meant it. I thought he was just trying to be funny, and it was tasteless and inappropriate, and he shouldn't have said it. But I don't. it's one of those things where he just wasn't thinking before he said it, and it got him into trouble. So, which he's done a number of times over his career.
And I was with you on that, honestly. I think it was just a joke, and so for me, it's like, yeah, I mean, when I heard it, I thought, oh, this is, yep, I can see why it's a problem.
Oh, sure.
But I wasn't like, oh, what a insensitive prick. For me, it was, and I believe I said this at the time, it was just the straw that broke the camel's back. It was just, he's been under fire so much that was the final thing that said, okay, man, we just dealt with Jeremy Roenick pulling shit like this. We can't deal with this anymore. The fan base is pissed. We're just going to drop you. And I think that's what happened.
I know Bill's no Milbury fan, because I know you were pretty excited when you heard he was not returning to NBCSN, Bill.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you to get the Monty Python and there was much rejoicing sound bit for when we talked about this, because that's how I feel. There was much rejoicing.
Maybe I'll play it in the podcast after the fact. Wait. Okay, there it was. Okay.
All right.
So I want to get to a couple comments here in the chat. Patrick Day says, hey guys, what's up, Patrick? You seem like you've become a regular here on the live show, so good to have you. Austin Lynch, yo, what's up, fellas? Sitting at home wearing my Blues Torrey Krug jersey.
Woo!
Excited to see him play tonight, Austin. We'll be excited to see that. Let's get the pregame started. Jimmy says, time to drink, fellas. Billy Rakowski says, Bob Rakowski, sorry about that. He says, of all the Milburyisms, I think that was one of the least offensive. And I agree 100% with that.
Yeah, I agree too. He said far worse, but I think it was just bad timing as far as like the social movements that are going on for him with that. It's a no. You can't say that kind of thing. It is what it is. So he should have known better.
Agree.
Yeah, and Patrick Day just said got rid of Milbury but added Babcock ? Well, I think the difference is that Babcock will get fired for gay bashing or referring to the players as homophobic slurs rather than misogynistic slurs that Milbury had. But
I guess
probably gonna happen.
Are you saying gay bashing or Gabe bashing? Like, would he bash Landeskog? Is that what you're trying to say?
He probably would,
no?
But it would be
funny.
Gay bashing and Gabe bashing.
It's interesting. I mean, after a while, we'll have to see who's the bigger douche, Babcock or Milbury. Because I'd imagine, to me, I can't stand I've always hated Babcock, always hated the man with a passion. And even more so after all this stuff came out with him and how he treated players and what kind of guy he is. So I think I'd rather have Milbury commenting on games than Babcock. We'll see how it goes.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's see how he does.
All right. Okay. Maybe that's fair, I guess. Fine. The Dallas Stars coronavirus update. There is no real update. They still don't know how it started. Dallas will not begin its season until January 19th at the earliest. Kind of sucks for Stars fans and Stars players and people who actually, I guess, have the virus. I guess them too. 6 players and 2 coaches or training staff, whoever it was, came down with the virus, so they shut everything down. And I would assume you're going to see that with some other teams this season at some point. Maybe, hopefully, not as bad, but we'll see how it goes. The San Jose Sharks will likely play some home games in Arizona this season. The Santa Clara County officials have banned contact sports due to the regional stay-at-home order, with ICU bed availability there Monday falling to a record low 0.7%. That number would have to rise above 15% for the region's stay-at-home order to be lifted. Professional or collegiate contact sports in Santa Clara County are not allowed while the shelter order is in place. So until that ban is lifted, the Sharks will be playing their home games in Arizona. Their first home game is slated for February 1st, so they got a little bit of time to maybe get those numbers up so they can play at home in San Jose, but that's looking pretty, not like it's going to happen. The Blues are scheduled to play an away game versus San Jose on February 26th, so hopefully by then the order will have long been lifted. So we shall see. I know the folks at Teal Town, they were supposed to meet today or yesterday. Not Teal Town folks, but the Sharks and the NHL were supposed to meet with Santa Clara County officials about the status of the situation, and I couldn't find any news on it about what the outcome of that meeting was. I asked Steeltown, and they hadn't heard either. So I assume no news is bad news, because if there were good news with it, they would have said. But
I think that the big miss here by the Sharks is they should have done what you just said. They should have sent in the Tealtown folks to battle for them. That would have been way more interesting.
Right. Yeah. And they could have done it live over the internet. That'd been great.
Live show. Fantastic.
Yeah, live on YouTube. Yep. The Bruins will retire Willie O'Ree's number 22 this season on what's the date? January 18th. No, that was his debut. He's 85 years old. Though the ceremony is on February 18th, so pretty soon. So about a month. Before a game versus the New Jersey Devils, his number will be retired. He's 85 years old now and debuted for the Bruins 63 years ago. January 18th, 1958 versus Montreal. He was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame under the Builder category in 2018, an honor that was viewed as long overdue. No kidding. He's the first black player in the NHL. So, I mean, you would have thought that would have come along sooner. NHL Hall of Fame acknowledgement and number retirement. Granted, he didn't play a long time. He played short. I mean, 45 games was a stat line. 10 goals, 4 assists. Played pro hockey for 21 seasons, including 13 in the WHL. So that's commendable. Before retiring in '79. So, I mean, he wasn't a great NHL player, but he was the first black player in the NHL. That's a milestone, and you would think that the league would have recognized that a little sooner, as far as like Hall of Fame and retired numbers go. No, what do you think?
There was somebody that commented, I think, on the Facebook post by the Bruins that said that, why is this guy getting his number retired? And probably a troll, but people responded, hey man, come on, first black player, and he's like, well, the first black player in MLB was Jackie Robinson, and that guy actually made a difference in the game because he was elite. This guy was not elite, so why are they retiring his number? And you're missing the boat here, man. Yeah. Anybody who doesn't understand this was a big moment in terms of not just a great black player coming into the league. The fact that a black player came into the league, it had never done before. I mean, there's no comparable. I was trying to explain this to somebody else and said, well, if there was the first openly gay player, which would be a huge deal, but I don't think that's as big of a deal as a first black player. That's huge, especially in those days.
Yeah.
So I'm all for this. I think this is the right move, and like you said, Curt, should have been done earlier.
I agree. 60 some odd, 85 years ago. Or no, I'm sorry. That's I got the date. What was it? 63 years ago he debuted.
He's 85 years old, so
yeah.
He couldn't have viewed it. Couldn't have.
Unless he was a really good baby.
Newborn, but.
Right. 63 years ago he debuted, and he's just getting acknowledgement now with the Bruins. I assume he was honored at somehow in the arena for being the first black player. That had to have been.
I've seen ceremonies with him involved, so I'm sure he has.
I mean,
getting retired, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Right. He's been an ambassador for the league. The league by and large has acknowledged, him as the one that broke the color barrier. And out of all the professional sports in North America, hockey is by far viewed as the most snow white league. So, in terms of it is. It's getting better. But, I think all, it's as good a reason as any to retire a number, in the NHL, in professional sports. A lot of people get their numbers retired that, just for having, played for a team for a long time. And there's a lot of debate about, when and who should have things retired. For an organization like Boston that's, been around forever, I think it shows a lot about how much he means, to Boston and to the NHL for them to do this.
Yeah, I think that it's only a matter of time, right? I mean, we've seen the first black player come in the league 63 years ago. But I think the real question is, when's the first openly shaving player to shave his balls will be coming into the NHL?
Wow.
That's the real question.
Wow.
I'm telling you, you better be prepared, because when I yank it out, everybody in that audience, with the exception of my wife, is going to be running for the exits.
Not only is Manscaped the hands-down industry leader in men's below-the-waist grooming, but they have some big news. Manscaped has just released their new cologne scent to help you feel good and smell good all over and at all times. Who knew smelling this good could feel this good too? Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. Join the movement for all your below-the-waist grooming needs. Get 20% off and free shipping with promo code LGB at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com with promo code LGB. Look good, smell good, feel good with Manscaped. That was a pretty good lead in, Jeff. I like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you haven't checked out manscaped.com yet, please do. They're a fantastic sponsor of the show. Great guys over there. Fantastic products. letsgoblues.com. There's some links for Manscaped on there, but go to manscaped.com, promo code LGB, get you 20% off and free shipping on your order. They just released a new product, which is the Manscaped cologne. You got that bottle in front of you there, Bill. You can hold that up for the folks on the YouTube and the Facebook. Get a little closer to the camera so they can see it. There you go. Yeah, Manscaped Refined. Yeah, so it makes you smell like an old wooden ship. to quote Ron Burgundy. No, I'm kidding. But it does have that kind of oaky, musky scent to it.
Yeah,
I'll say my wife. Oh, go ahead, Bill.
I was just going to say it does have that oaky, woodsy scent, but there's definitely some star anise. It's some black licorice in there, which I didn't think I'd be a fan of, but it's grown on me. I enjoy it.
Yeah, my wife smelled it when we first got it. I did not have my smell back at all, so I couldn't smell any of it.
You put a lot on it.
I did, yeah. I told these guys that. I took my wrist and I just kept spraying it because I was like, I got to be able to smell this so I can promote it, and I couldn't smell it. I can now because they sent it to us a while ago. But I had my wife smell it, and first she was taken back. She's like, "Whoa, you put a lot on." But she did say, she goes, that is a very woodsy smell to it, which she likes. So it's very much a good smell for women who maybe are a little more outdoorsy. So yeah, definitely a great product for anybody who hasn't tried it.
And depending on how much cologne people wear, I'm the kind of guy with this type of cologne. I'm the kind of like to spray it in the air and walk through it kind of guy. That's where I'm going with this. I think when I first put it on, I put a little too much on, and it's pretty strong. So it'll last. I mean, it's not, you don't have to put a lot on. So it's going to it'll last you a while. I'll say that with the bottle. So you don't have to so some colognes you got to put a lot of it on and it wears off pretty quick. But this stuff's good. It does have that manly, musky, woodsy smell, like you said, Bill, with a hint of licorice, which is nice.
Patrick Day adds smell of leather-bound books and rich mahogany.
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah. No, I it's one of those things, if you spray it multiple times, you're definitely going to have that, it may be repellent, like the Axe body spray overdosers. So take it easy on it. It'll last you a while, and it's pleasant when it's, in moderation.
Yeah.
Don't overdo this one.
Yeah, no, I like
That's
it.
most cologne, though. That is most cologne.
Oh yeah, and that it goes without saying. I think, but I think some colognes are you need to use more or less, and this is definitely the one you have which I appreciate. You have to use less because again, the bottle will last a whole lot longer.
Oh
so,
yeah.
So that's and it's and also there are other products as well. The shaver, the lawnmower 3.0, and all their other products, which are what their company is founded on. So you can look good, smell good, and feel good with Manscaped. Mike Hoffman makes it official. So we got some Blues talk now, specifically Blues talk. Mike Hoffman makes it official. 1 year, $4 million. Jeremy Rutherford was spot on with his reporting last week when he said he was expecting to him to sign for between 3.5 and 4.5 million. He got that right in the middle. So over the past
well, I just want to add that we wouldn't have anybody be a friend of the show. Somebody like Jeremy, we know they're going to get spot on, so they're a friend of the show. Thank you, Jeremy. Continue, Curt.
All right, thank you. Over the past 6 seasons, Hoffman is tied for 16th in goals in the NHL with 169, and tied for 8th in power play goals with 59 among all NHL players. So Hoffman will open the season on line with Jaden Schwartz and Robert Thomas tonight at 9:30 Central, and has a spot on the first power play unit as well. So welcome on board officially, Mike Hoffman. You guys, is this what you guys expected? I mean, for the salary, I mean, I assume you're happy with the salary because $4 million is a steal for Hoffman for 1 year. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel
absolutely.
like with the just again, the flat cap. We talked about it already before with Steen going on long-term injury reserve, which we'll touch on in a second more, and then Tarsenko joining again. We'll touch on that in a minute. But $4 million for a player of his caliber. What was he making last year? I feel like I should have pulled this up.
Was it six something, 6.5?
I want to say 6.4, but I could be wrong. I'll look it up as I'm talking. But I feel like I tried pulling up. I'm a fool. I just tried pulling up Cap Geek.
He made 5.187 last year. So
I mean, and he took a pay cut after having a great year in Florida. Basically, in a way, getting them to the playoffs, helping get to the playoffs. But he's a heck of a player, and seeing him. And again, I said last week, I think Robert Thomas is going to be a breakout player this year for the Blues. I'm very excited to see those two together. This was a steal for the Blues, and Curt, I think you said it last week. Maybe it was you, Bill. I don't remember, but the Blues gave up nothing to get him. Nothing. This wasn't a trade. This wasn't this wasn't an RFA signing. This was just a free agent, brought him in for training camp, signed him to a deal, great deal, and just unbelievable. The Blues were able to get him for nothing.
Usually the
it
go ahead, Bill.
I was just going to say it's you're spot on. Bringing him in for nothing, a low risk deal to the player and to the organization. We've talked about his off ice distractions in Ottawa, and now he's a couple organizations away from that. If he has a season here where he plays with Robert Thomas and puts up, as I have boldly predicted, 40 goals in a short season, he's going to get paid off. If he puts up 25, 30 goals this season, he is going to turn this $4 million payday into 7+ over a couple of years. Somebody's going to do it, when the revenues are back after the pandemic.
Yeah, his career high. He had a career high in goals last season with Florida. I'm sorry. His first season in Florida, he had a career high in goals, 36. It was an 18-19 season, 36 goals in Florida. Had 29 last season in the shortened season. So in 69 games. So he was on pace to do about 36 again. So he seems to be at his in his prime. So we got the top free agent, one of the top free agents in his prime for $4 million. Bob Rakowski does say in the YouTube chat, pay cut for a shorter season, though. That is true. Only 56 games. That's a good point. However, I think as far as fans go, it's a season. So you're trying to win a cup. So 56 games or 82 games or whatever you play, it's a season for fans. So there's that. Sure, ownership is paying more for less games, I guess, if you average it out. But still, I don't think fans care as much about the salary. It's a season to them.
Bill, I send you my condolences.
I actually had to. I had to turn it off. Streaming issues with network bandwidth tonight. It's a problem in my house. But,
well,
so
it
wasn't as painful as
beautiful.
I would have had.
It was a beautiful goal by Morgan Riley. So it was a good goal to beat him.
I'm watching the there's a replay. I didn't catch
but
this.
It was Morgan Riley.
Okay. I don't think okay. I thought it was a goal. It's not in the Tampa Bay Hawks game. Tampa Bay is winning 4-0 against Chicago, which is not surprising.
Not surprising at all.
Not in the least. Actually, Subban looked pretty bad on the third goal.
Yeah. Subban is your starter. That's, he's a good goalie, but, Chicago's going to have a very, very hard season this year. But to cap off the Mike Hoffman talk, opened last season with a Hattie. I believe it was against Tampa. So
he had 4 points in his first 2 games, I think, in Florida. So
right.
Yep.
Back to back with Tampa. So that's if he can put up against the league's best.
Yeah, I know.
Looking forward to what he can do tonight.
Absolutely. All 9 Blues players that they put through waivers the other day cleared. Sam, who the internet likes to call Anus, Jacob De La Rose, Mackenzie McEachern, Curtis McKenzie, Nathan Walker, Mitch Renke, Steve Santini, Jake Wallman, and John Gillies. So they all cleared. There were a number of people on social media that were thinking, "Oh my God, someone's going to claim De La Rose, someone's going to claim McEachern," and I'm like, "No, I doubt it. Come on."
With everybody that was on waivers, no way.
Yeah,
the players that got picked off waivers. Louis Eriksson, and you can't tell me that Vancouver wasn't happy to have his contract off the books. But the few waiver moves, it wasn't going to be one of these guys.
No. And somebody was, McEachern, I think it was McEachern, or which one makes 700K? Let me see here. McEachern, who makes 700K? McEachern makes 900. I think so. Is De La Rose makes 700K. So somebody was like, well, De La Rose would be a nice option at center who can play, fourth line center for $700,000. And I'm like, well, okay. Sure. But you have to understand that team is coming out of camp. They have their own $700,000 fourth line centers that they just got done evaluating in camp. And so they'll have to like De La Rose more than their current guys. And if they take De La Rose, they can't put him on the taxi squad. They have to put him directly on their 23-man roster. So someone on their roster would have to be waived, go through waivers to go to the taxi squad or whatever. And someone's have to leave go through waivers. So they got to expose someone that they have. There's a lot that has to happen for somebody to be taken off of waivers. And I just didn't see any of those guys on the list there worthy of any team taking that risk over guys they already had penciled in the lineup.
Yeah, I think that you look at just the players that were taken. There was 4 players in all of the NHL taken on waivers. Again, it just goes to show that these teams are very cap conscious and money conscious, and they don't want to be picking up guys that they aren't sure are going to be able to make their NHL roster. So yeah, I honestly wasn't worried about any of these guys. Nathan Walker would have been interesting, just because he's been playing really well in the AHL. Maybe a Jake Wallman. We talked about him last week. Mackenzie McEachern's had a pretty solid NHL career. But at the end of the day, again, I looked around the NHL, who else was on waivers, and I said, there are bigger names out there than what the Blues are offering. So I think that this was this was exactly what I expected, that all these guys would clear.
Sure. I think, excuse me.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was a little bit worried that Wallman might get taken by the Bruins, go back, to the Northeast where he's from, especially with the Bruins, with really a dearth of defensemen this year with, Char leaving and, their Charlie McAvoy is their most seasoned defender now. So wouldn't have surprised me, but glad he's still in the organization. And can agree on one thing: if Mackenzie McEachern and Curt McKenzie make it into a lineup on the same line, we call it the Strange Brew line.
I like it.
I'm down.
And we'll have to have Elsinore for that show if that happens on the show.
A 2-4.
A 2-4 Elsinore, right? Sure, with the mouse in the bottle. Alexander Steen was placed on the LTIR on Tuesday, which erases his $5.75 million cap hit. That was all that was expected. And the Blues placed Tarsenko on LTIR today, which also was expected. So the Blues do have some cap flexibility right now until Tarsenko returns. So they do have something to play with, and he is expected to return probably February sometime, late February, maybe March, early March. Depends on on what they deduce when he gets reevaluated. And it needs to be said too that I think if people were it's funny because it was the Blues placed Tarsenko on LTIR today, and it was announced on Twitter and whatnot. And some passive fans, I guess, who don't really follow the team that closely, but do enjoy hockey and like to get excited about the season, which there are a number of those people out there. They were like, "Oh my God, Tarsenko is made of glass," like he just got hurt, and like he all of a sudden is put on LTIR again. I'm like, no, he had surgery back in September and he's recovering from that surgery, and this was expected. So it's just a cap.
Well, and in the same realm of that, there's people that I and followers that I know that follow the team very closely, and were pissed because originally on the taxi squad was Jordan Kyrou, and they did that knowing, first of all, he didn't have to go through waivers. And they would be able to put him back in the lineup once they put Tarsenko on LTIR. So when they announced the taxi squad and they saw Kyrou on it, there was a couple people I saw, again, people I know who follow the team pretty closely. What does this guy have to do to make the team? And I'm like, they have to do it. He cleared waiver. Like they're going to put him through because he doesn't have to go through waivers. So it makes sense. And they got to wait until one of the guys comes off the roster. So, I don't know. It's just like pay attention a little bit to what the insiders are telling you, because I know Rutherford and Korak and Strickland, all these guys have been posting about how this is what they're going to do. Like, no matter what, this is what they're going to do. So, for people to get upset right away, it's like, just do a little research before you get pissed off.
The lineup changes from last season to this. We're subtracting Pietrangelo, Steen, Bouwmeester, and Jake Allen. And we've added Mike Hoffman, Torrey Krug, Ville Husso, Kyle Clifford, and Jordan Kyrou. I say Kyrou, but he got some time last year, but he should get a real shot this year. So, let's compare this year's team to last year's team that won the Central Division. Initially the loss of Pietrangelo seems huge, but the Blues replaced him with talent and with other guys moving up in the ranks on the roster and giving other guys shots. Is this roster this year better than last year's?
Real quick before we answer that, Bill, and Bill, I want you to go first. You put Bouwmeester in the subtractions, who officially did retire. By the way, for those who may not have seen that, let's add in the.
Did I not say Bouwmeester? I said
Bouwmeester. No, you did. Yeah, but I'm just saying, let's add into the additions, if you're going to put Bouwmeester in there, a full season of Marco Scandella, who very much impressed last year.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's another thing you could add in the additions if we're going to put Bouwmeester in subtractions, because I think that at the very least, I think that that levels out the loss of Bouwmeester.
No, I'll buy that.
Go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think Curt's analysis is spot on here. In terms of replacing Pietrangelo with, other people coming up. Obviously Krug is the key, and it gives the lineup more balance with having that left-handed puck moving power play quarterback defenseman that the Blues just haven't had. The last left-handed power play quarterback the Blues really had for a stretch of time was Alexander Steen, and he's not a defenseman. So I'm looking forward to seeing Krug on the power play. I think that Falk is not going to be just fighting to, not be a third line guy. I think, there's going to be more pressure on him, and I think he'll rise to the occasion. He's not going to be expected to be the number one defenseman, on the right side. That's going to be Parayko, but certainly it's not that, logjam that we had last year, where you had three guys who could legitimately be a number one defenseman in the NHL, fighting for time. I think that's going to be better for Falk. I expect him to have a good season, and I do think that's Scandella really was. I was super impressed after he came over. It was almost like the team didn't lose a beat. Parayko, until we got to the bubble. Falk stood out as one of the better players in the bubble. Parayko and Dunn didn't look great. Scandella, wasn't playing so much with Parayko, and didn't look as good. But I think that's a great point too by Jeff, that we have another year or a full year of Scandella, and he can be a very calming influence. Allow his partner to be a puck mover.
You concur with that, Jeff?
Doctor, do you concur? I concur 100%. I think that, losing, you look at Pietrangelo being lost, that was such a bummer when it happened. And I remember, again, we talked about this whenever, God, I don't even remember when free agent day was, but when that happened and Pietrangelo was let go and the Blues signed Krug, I remember the first thing I tweeted was, not happy about this. And it's like, over time, I realized this is a good move for the Blues, a left-handed defenseman that can play the same pairing with Colton Parayko as the top pairing. I mean, you want to talk about a replacement for Bouwmeester, that top pairing of Parayko and Krug is ridiculous. That's got to be one of the best in the league, at least heading into the season. Adding in Hoffman, Clifford, who I know a lot of people, when they saw that signing, were upset about it, didn't like it. But let's face it, he's a guy you love to hate. He's a guy that if he's not on your team, you hate him. And I think as a fourth line guy that you could replace if need be, if you don't need a toughness, if you don't need the grit, you can take him out for that game. I think he's a great player to have in the lineup. And, we didn't talk much about the last scrimmage the Blues had, but Ville Husso looked fantastic. I don't know if you guys watched that. I thought he looked great. And again, it's one game. It's a small sample size. But Ville Husso is a guy who I think he's determined to keep his NHL spot. And I think nothing against Jake Allen. Obviously, he was fantastic last year. But seeing a guy who is just absolutely determined to go in as the backup goalie and maybe even have a shot to split start if he plays well enough, that's going to really get him going. But you got to think he is enthused. He's ready to go. And you got to hope that maybe he's taking some ID life on the side to keep him motivated and keep him energetic.
You're batting 1,000.
Are you living your best life? Although I can't say I'm definitely living mine as well as I could. I was put on the right path by ID Life, the world's only personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment and your DNA. ID Life understands that no two people are the same. That's why ID Life uses original products that help you reach your goals, whether it be for weight loss, skincare, energy, or anything else. All products are non-GMO, gluten, and soy-free and don't include artificial sweeteners. And through January, try the Burn Box, which will save you some money this month on various products. Becoming a VIP member and ordering a Burn Box provides you with an additional 20% off as well, and this price will be locked in through 2021 if you sign up now. VIPs save 15 to 20% off every order and include many other benefits. Check out rockinthatidlife.com and speak with my friend Dustin about how ID Life can guide you through your life advancement journey. That's rockinthatidlife.com and tell them Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. Yeah, so again, new sponsor on the show, ID Life, rockinthatidlife.com. That's an ID is obviously spelled idlife.com. Just an unbelievable product. Again, we've talked on this show when Manscaped came on, and we've had sponsors in the past. We only want sponsors on that we truly believe in. We don't want to just push something to our listeners that we don't do ourselves, that we don't believe is an actual good product. We've had opportunities in the past to bring on sponsors that we just flat out declined because we just felt it didn't meet our standards. And rockinthatidlife.com, which it's important to use that URL because the man who's behind this, a friend of the show, Dustin Paul, guy that we've all played hockey with, he's behind it, and he's done an unbelievable job with moving his product. Some of the stuff that we've had there, and again, you heard the commercial just now. It goes by off what your body needs, and it's not just, hey, this item is going to give you energy. Take this. Hey, this item is going to give you. It's going to hydrate you. Take this. That's what so many of these companies do. And this is the first one that I've really seen that truly does listen to what your body needs. And so I want to talk about something I'm drinking right now. And guys, I remember back to the days of the first Wayne's World movie when they're talking about their sponsors. And, he's opening up the Pizza Hut box and drinking the Pepsi. I don't know if you guys remember that. That's what I'm doing here. I'm drinking my ID Life right now. And it is great stuff. It really, truly does give me energy. This is the one I'm drinking now. It's the energy that they provide. It's the fruit punch flavor, which is great. And I took it this morning. I'm taking it now. It is a kick in the ass. And it's not one of those back in the day I used to drink energy drinks. It's not like that. You're not getting this fake kind of energy that disappears in 30 minutes. This is something that keeps you going for a few hours. And it's the one product that I definitely use from rockinthatidlife.com that I definitely would recommend if you're wanting a pick-me-up at all, whether it's during the day, in the middle afternoon, or whatever. It's an excellent product, and it's really done its job. It's natural, so it's not like you're putting a bunch of just bad shit into your body. It gives you that pick you up, whether you're in the office or you're out on the road, whatever you do for a living. And it's great for working out too. So again, rockinthatidlife.com. Dustin is the man you will be talking to, and make sure you let him know that Let's Go Blues Radio sent you.
And it tastes good. I've got the you had the energy, and I've got the hydration, the hydrate, and it's delicious. It really is good. So that's the thing. The two things that people care about, does it work and how's it taste? So it works.
It's both, yeah. And compare the hydration to like a Gatorade. So if you're working out and you want something that'll replenish you, give you back your electrolytes, hydrate is what they call it, and it's works way better than and it tastes great. Tastes better than Gatorade, in my opinion. I
was expecting it to not taste good because, a lot of the stuff does not taste good. But my first sip was like, oh, this is good. That's good. Yeah. Okay, so
yeah, and with I was just gonna say with a late night hockey game, I may be trying the sleep one tonight.
Yeah,
give it a shot. It's good stuff.
So questions and concerns for the Blues this season. I'm sure we all have maybe a major one or two and probably some minor ones or two, like all teams do, if you're going to nitpick. But the only real concern for me, and I'll start this off, and I think that we've talked about this a little bit before, and you guys may agree, is in net. I'll be watching our net close because, Binnington, everyone's well aware of his average play last season and his poor bubble performance last year. So, and with Husso backing him up, there's and as good as he's played and as high as the team is on him, he's still a rookie. So you'd rather not rely on him to come in and carry the load for a while Binnington gets his act together. So hopefully that's not the case. But so if you want to nitpick about some other things, But well, as far as goaltending goes, guys, are you cool with the goaltending? Are you concerned? Mildly concerned? Major concerned? What are your thoughts on that, Bill?
Go ahead, Bill.
I think it was the right decision, to move on from Jake Allen. The salary, it was great. They were a great tandem, and Jake had a great bubble. But you can't pay two goalies north of $4 million each, and so thinking about the long term, sticking with Binnington, and not really spending money to bring in a season backup, I think it was the right move. Is it a little bit risky? Yeah, but the last time we went a little bit risky in goal was when we brought Binnington up and he led us to the cup. So I'm all about that. Give him his true shot. I think this is a contract year for him. It's a little bit make or break. So give it to him. Let him see if he can run with it. If not, see what Husso can do. And if they're not working out, see what's available at the trade deadline. But I think, yeah, that's my thought. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I've got some breaking news, folks, for anyone watching live. Mike Hoffman is not eligible to play tonight. This just came through the wire. Apparently his work visa was not approved yet. Yeah, so he is not eligible. So he will not be in the lineup. I'm guessing they'll probably replace him with Sammy Blais on the second line.
Yeah.
So we will see.
Huh.
But, interesting stuff. Yeah, it does suck. That really sucks. But either way, still a solid lineup. Still a good team to put up against Colorado. Blais will add some physicality to the lineup that Hoffman probably doesn't provide as much. But in terms of goaltending, I agree. I'm still 100% a believer in Binnington. I know he had his rough stretch in the bubble, but I feel like and people saying that he was bad last season, that's just not true. Maybe he wasn't spectacular. Maybe he wasn't the lights out goalie we saw in 2019. Well, guess what? How often are you going to really see that? We all said after he won the cup, we're going to see a downplay from Binnington. Like, no matter what, he's not going to be able to keep up that type of prolific play he had to win the cup. So I think he was good enough last year for a good team to win the cup. I think he potentially is still a top 10 goalie in the NHL. We'll see how he does this season. But I think he's definitely upper echelon. I'd put him, of 31 teams, I'd put him in the top 15 at least. But again, I think he could be top 10 depending on how he plays this year. So I'm fine with it. I'm excited to see how these two roll. And I think, again, as I said before our commercial break, Ville Husso, I think, is a guy who is very motivated. Again, you think about the year that Binnington took over. That could have been Husso. And I think in the back of his mind, that's what he's told himself, is that had he not been injured, he would have been the one called up. He would have been the one getting the starts. And again, I'm not saying he would have won the Blues the cup, but you think about it and you think, this guy's motivated to show the Blues what he can do in a regular season role playing for the Blues in the NHL.
Considering no other goalie in history has really did what Binnington came in and did in 2019, I can't imagine that Husso honestly thinks that he would have come in and done the same thing as Binnington. But maybe he thinks that he could have been, the guy still to backstop this team to a cup. But I can't imagine he would think that he would have done the same thing. But I guess you never know. Maybe he's a cocky goalie. If you want to nitpick, for me, there are some other things. Falk and his performance last year needs to be better. I think he will be. I think most people do. He was better in the bubble, so he's coming off of that. Will there be chemistry issues with Hoffman? I don't. Who knows? I mean, anytime you got a new player coming into an organization, there could be chemistry issues. They might not play as well. Look at Falk last year. New system, so we'll see. Same thing with Pietrangelo in Vegas too. There could be chemistry issues there. It could be an issue where he's not adjusting to the system as well as or as quickly as they would like. So it's so funny because some teams, people say that about players coming in. Oh my gosh, well, we got to wait and see how they work with other players, make sure he fits in. But it seems like Vegas is getting a free pass on everything. To be honest, the players that left so they could afford Pietrangelo, that doesn't seem to be a big deal because they signed Pietrangelo and because they have solid goaltending, deep goaltending. They're back, with Fleury and Grubauer. Gosh, I'm sorry, Leonard. Yeah, sorry, Leonard. Grubauer was tonight with Colorado. So deep goaltending, yeah. Got Pietrangelo, great player, but everyone's picking them to finish second behind Colorado, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the players that they had to get rid of. They jettisoned Nate Schmidt. He's now in Vancouver. Paul Stastny back to Winnipeg. And there was rumor, that Pacioretty could be on his way out too, but I don't think that's happening. Also, Derek England, I don't, maybe he wasn't there last year, but he just retired. He was kind of their heart and soul guy, never officially a captain. I don't know. I do think you're right that, everybody, they've kind of been the league's darlings since they came in and made the Stanley Cup their first year. And, maybe it's painful for us Blues fans who waited 50 years for a Stanley Cup to see a team come in and be dominant. I mean, not that the Blues weren't Stanley Cup finals first 3 years in the very unbalanced league. But I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to when we get to play Vegas. And I want to see how the Blues approach, Alex Pietrangelo as an opponent. I think out of any team in the league, we have some good intel on when to take advantage of his tendencies. And right. I think we are very well aware of those tendencies. So I'm excited to get to play them 8 times. I think it's going to wind up being a really good rivalry. But Colorado being such a heavy favorite, I really think it has got to be a lot closer between the Blues and Vegas.
Yeah, I think so. And that's it's an exciting thing because it's really a toss up for the top 3. I mean, granted, Colorado is the darlings of the NHL. Everyone's picking them to win the Cup. Everyone's picking them to win the division, obviously, and almost everyone's picking the Golden Knights to finish second. The Athletic had their predictions out, and like 41 of their writers and staff they picked division winners, and in the West, 30 of the 41 picked the Avalanche, 10 others picked the Knights, 1 person picked the Blues, and so they picked.
Got to be your Rutherford.
and the Blues. So almost everyone's picking the Blues to finish third behind any site you go to that has predictions for divisions. Everyone's picking the Blues to finish third, just about. And it's not even close. It's always Colorado, Vegas, St. Louis in that order. And yeah, sure, it could happen that way, but I don't see the dominance that the Vegas Knights have over the Blues. I don't see it.
I still question, and again, I could be completely wrong here, but I still question, are they better than last year?
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, you think about, Nate Schmidt was a hell of a defenseman for them. And I'm not saying Pietrangelo is not an upgrade, because he is. But again, talking about chemistry in a shortened season and losing your number 2 center with Paul Stastny coming out and not really replacing him. And again, Bill mentioned Pacioretty possibly on the move. You're talking about making some pretty big shifts here. Plus, I still go back to the coaching change they made last year. I think that was the wrong move. Granted, they went to the Western Final, but I question, are they really better than they were? And I think, they're still going to be good. I think they're a playoff team for sure. But yeah, having them, and again, it would not surprise me one bit. Avalanche, Golden Knights, Blues. That's how it finished. It would not surprise me.
Sure.
I picked the Blues to finish ahead of the Golden Knights, but either way, I think you could flip-flop it. But again, to look at the vote totals Avalanche 30, Knights 10, Blues 1.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, really? Like I don't. I think it's a lot
Right.
closer than what the Athletics doing.
Right. In the number in the Athletic article that shocked me was the Blues made the list of most disappointing teams.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I know.
Most disappointing teams? Well, we didn't keep Pietrangelo. Oh, we signed Torrey Krug. We didn't upgrade our offense. No, we replaced Alexander Steen in, the shell of himself. All due respect, Alexander, but we replaced him with Mike Hoffman. How is that not exciting?
And
how do you say that that's disappointing?
Yeah, and Tarsenko's coming back February, March, right? So, and hopefully he's healthy because the when he came back last time, the surgery did not take. They didn't say anything, but they knew it. They worked with him to see if it would get any better after he started to play and practice. It didn't. So this time they're saying it did take. So he should be substantially better than when he came back last year.
And let me be the first to say that's going to be just like making a trade.
Dan Buff already said that on Twitter today to me, and I was like, just stop, don't do that.
God damn it, Bill. Damn it. We got a lot of comments I want to get to real quick here. Bob Rakowski still wonder which Blues players had Rona type symptoms last season. I think you'll be able to tell. Honestly, I think seeing the way they come out of the gate versus how they came out of the gate in the bubble, I think you'll be able to kind of get an idea. I mean, I'll admit, after I had the Rona, I started running right away, right after I knew I was symptom free, and my time was awful. And it was, granted, for 2 weeks I sat on my ass and didn't move, but it took a while for me to really get back to where I used to be. It took about a month. So I imagine it's probably compounded for people who are in great shape, which I am not. Patrick Day, Blues are projected for second, third in the West. The Blues go third. He says 25 to 30 wins. Does that get Binnington an extension? And there's a lot of comments involving that. Andrew Tykeson says as long as Binner is approximately 912 plus in save percentage, probably. But we don't need him to be elite, just decent and consistent. Andrew, 100% agree with you. I think if his numbers are decent, that's an extension worthy. There's a lot of numbers being thrown out in the chat right now. But, guys, I think obviously Corona is going to play into this. I think it depends on, are we going to have fans in the stands by the end of the season? Are we going to see, obviously the cap number is going to stay the same, but NHL is projected to lose $1 billion. If fans start coming back into the stands, that number is going to dwindle. Teams are going to start getting more money back, and that's going to play a big factor into contracts for next season. So we'll see.
I think his save percentage needs to be better than 912. I'd like it to be like in 918. To me, that's because really your top 10 goalies are going to be above 918. I think if you wanted to be a top 10 goalie, I think you're going to have to look around that being about, at least 916, 918, something like that. 912 seems low to me, but maybe not.
912 to get you to the playoffs, and then 920 or better in the playoffs. I think that's what it's got to be.
Okay.
Yeah, right. I'll agree with that.
Okay.
Andrew Tykeson also adds, I don't think the economics allow for big money deals on goalies anymore. 100% agree with you there. He also says, Bill, he says, remember, when Tarsenko returns, it's like making a trade.
Jesus. Yeah.
I didn't, if he typed that, if he had that in the chat before I said it, I didn't have the YouTube front and center at the time.
No, I think you said it first, but we are also on we're also a little ahead of what they see in YouTube.
I think as far as Vegas goes, I think if they do finish out of the Blues, I think it's going to be mainly because of their goaltending. I think that's what will propel them there. I think in Colorado, we haven't talked a whole lot about them, and we play them here coming up in about 9:35 is probably puck drop, right? So
10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes. So Colorado, I mean, honestly, if the Blues have a question mark in goal, so is Colorado. Grubauer, good goalie, all right, but their backup has 36 games to his credit or something. Had a great year last year, but how is he going to play this year? He's young. He could go up and down. I mean,
and Grubauer's been proven to be injury prone in the past.
Yeah, so there's that. I mean, I would say as a whole, top to bottom, the goaltending is a hair above the Blues, just because Husso has like no experience. But other than that, I mean, that's questionable. I mean, they're not a rock solid top to bottom team. I mean, granted, offensively and defensively, they're very good. But they have a chink in the armor in goal. So that could be an issue with them, just like it is for the Blues. It could be. So if you're going to question the Blues goaltending, you have to fairly question Colorado's as well. It's the same in the same ballpark.
Absolutely. Yeah. Point I wanted to make earlier. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. We're on the same page.
Can I just add real quick, because I know we're getting ready to close up here, guys. Chicago is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Watching this game, oh my God. I mean, they don't even look like a hockey team.
This is one of the reasons why I wanted the Blues to play in the same division as Chicago, to play them 8 times this year and to whoop them.
I mean, if they play this way all season, they won't win a fucking game. They're awful.
Yeah. They have 4-0. Is it still 4-0? I'm a little behind.
Yeah, it's 4-0. Yeah.
Okay.
It was almost 5-0.
Yeah. It was almost 5-0 a couple times.
It's not just the goaltending. I mean, the whole team looks slow. They're not getting any offense. I mean, they just look bad.
All right. So guys, before we go ahead, Bill.
I was just going to say, and Jeremy Colleton got an extension, didn't he? If so, that's terrible timing.
So your predictions, guys. We kind of already touched on it, but your predictions for the let's do top 3 in the West, because after the top 3, it's kind of a blender of we can do top 4 if you want, but who makes the playoffs? Top 4 make the playoffs in the West. So you got the favorites for the top 3 are Colorado, St. Louis, and Vegas, and then so what's your Bill? What's your order of finishing for those 3 or those top 4?
So I'm going to say Colorado, Blues, Vegas, and going to go out on a limb and say Anaheim.
I'll jump in right now. Because that's exactly what I have. I have Colorado, St. Louis, Vegas, and the Ducks. Even me. So that's funny because the 4th place is a toss up to me. It could be a number of teams.
Yeah,
I think a toss up
Go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, I was going to say the toss up for 4th for me would be. I think San Jose might be a team to watch, but I think Arizona is the one that's going to get 4th.
Okay, I went with the Ducks because of goaltending. I think Gibson. They have maybe the best goaltending after the top 3. So that's the why I went with Anaheim. So,
but I'm going to go again. I said it earlier, but I'm going to go with Colorado 1, Blues 2nd, Vegas 3, and then again I'll go. I'm going to throw a bone to our friends over at Teal Town. I'm going to say San Jose takes the 4th.
That'd be fun. I would. Yeah. Make some.
If you look at it in a short season, they've still got guys they got a great roster. If you look at like guys that were in the Western Conference Final just 2 years ago, so they could surprise. We'll see.
Right, with arguably stouter goaltending with Devin Dubnyk coming in, and you're not having to rely on Marty Jones.
Right.
Well, this was a good pregame show, and I think we've finished on time for like the first time in forever. It's like 9:30.
I will add real quick for those of you who have not been watching the Blackhawks and Lightning, Malcolm Subban just made possibly one of the saves of the year already in a 4-0 game.
Well, it's 5-0
That
now.
was ridiculous.
It's 5-0.
Well, it's 5-0 now. Yes. But he made an insane stick save about 5 minutes ago, and it was phenomenal.
Brandy Capone in the YouTube chat says Tampa Bay scored again. LOL. That's a broken record for
She said, you know what I'm going to give Brandy? You're going to get my comment of the night. Chicago is on the ice, and that's about it.
They are physically there.
Yep.
Support for Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming products. Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with code LGB. Look good, smell good, feel good with Manscaped. And by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment and your DNA. Visit rockinthatidlife.com and talk to Dustin today. That will wrap up episode 18 of season 9 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the live show. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. Enjoy the game tonight. Let's go Blues. For Jeff Ponder and Bill Day, I'm Curt Price. Until next time, everyone, take it, boys.
Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
The Chiefs are at home tonight against Cyanosport at the War Memorial at 8. Good seats are still available.
A look at sports.
I think that went very well.
Thank you for listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. Now take off, hosers.
I want you to have a heart attack and die so that we never have to do this shit again.
Well, there's 90 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Sorry.
St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Blues. Have you heard